All right. Hello, everybody. We're here with Brian McMahon, a master and Expert Dojo on himself. Brian, how are you, man?
Hey, buddy. It's great to be here.
Excellent. How's everything on the West Coast?
So we're over here in LA. Everybody's still locked down. Startups are still like massively focused on driving revenue and getting traction and pushing everything forward. And yeah, everything's going great, actually.
Excellent. So I want to jump in really quickly because this session is all about the venture capital markets. It's all about kind of getting a little cling from the West Coast, from the American markets, for our friends, the entrepreneur friends, venture capital friends in Israel, and just get them a little sense of evidence on what's going on over there with respect to the whole COVID-19 situation that's pretty much affecting the entire world. So I want to jump and dive very aggressively and ask you, how did the COVID-19, the whole situation, how did it, from your perspective, of course, how it affected the venture capital markets in the States and in general, and what type of new opportunities you think it created, as well as new challenges?
So number one, 5 minutes before this call, I just finished a call with a venture capitalist up on the East Coast where we both agreed to join invest in a deal, which was a cybersecurity company, which is not a company from Israel, but it is a company. So there are deals being done today. However, let's look at the reality of where we stand with different types of investors. Angel investors ran for the hills. The second there's a downturn, the second it looks like the stock market's going to change and we have any kind of disruption within the startup space, angels all step back because the majority of angels are not professional investors, right? This is something that they do to be able to get extra money, not something that they do as their livelihood. So we haven't seen an angel investment in 2 to 3 weeks, not real time, right? So they've stepped back. So it's very important to know. Number two, with the venture capitalists, with us aside, look, we're more aggressive than before. We're investing in twice as many companies as we did previously. And we're looking for more startups. And we have certain criteria that we're putting behind it, but we're definitely very aggressive. But the majority of the venture capitalists, I would say, are distracted. So previously it was about how do I get a great company? How do I bring them in? And how does greed meet FOMO? So what does that mean? Like when FOMO is you're worried another investor might come in and take your awesome company from you. And greed is you recognize that a company can really move forward. For most investors, now a new point came into the equation, which is greed meets FOMO meets timing. And the timing is, do we have a portfolio company that's in trouble? Do we have 20 portfolio companies that are in trouble that we need to focus our efforts on? And I know many investors, VCs are looking at that. Or do we have other opportunities which are coming to the market which wouldn't have been looked at before, but now they're a real option? And then finally, do we have a rush to do this? Are we going to lose out on this company versus before?
So it makes sense, and I think that kind of give you a reality check to say this is crucial, but it's not over. The game is still on, and if you have something good and if you have something valuable, you just need to be more punctual and more accurate on your efforts, on your market efforts to go and reach out, from an entrepreneurial standpoint. With respect to your funding, researches, and resources that you're trying to get your hands with. So I want to move forward for a second. It seems like, we're right after mid-April, and we're starting to see kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, with countries starting to assess and develop exit strategies. Some of the economies are already back in action. How do you think entrepreneurs needs to assess today their strategies and their tactics and adapt it to the evolving situation, with respect to today? As we know, every day is a different day and everything is changing rapidly.
So entrepreneurs need to be beasts. It's just that simple. I mean, I mentioned at the very beginning of this interview, we literally just made an investment, which we're now going to be a co-investment with another VC. Why? Because the company is a phenomenal cybersecurity company. They're already starting to bring revenue in. Rather than sitting back and crying in their milk that this is a terrible market and it's really difficult and it's really hard, all of which is true, they're pushing harder forward. They're using the market as a reason to get customers on board. Now, they're taking customers on board at a lower cost than they would have before, but who cares? It's not important. What's wonderful for VCs, for venture capitalists in a market like this, is we get to see how entrepreneurs react in the difficult times, not how entrepreneurs say they're going to react based on a future-facing pie chart. So it's really, really powerful for us because we get into a place where the water is clear. There's no muddiness anymore. So entrepreneurs need to focus entirely on driving their metrics forward. Now, your metrics might be revenue. It may be impossible for you to drive revenue. Maybe you're a retail-based company, or you're a bar-based company, or a restaurant-based company. And you're like, Brian, I can't do that because our businesses have been shut down. Fine. You can build partnerships. You can build affiliates. You can build new ways that you can get business coming through in the future. Hell, you can pivot. What we want to see is, as an early stage company, how do you break through? Now, the other point I just want to add, because you brought it up just at the beginning, is for early stage startups, like where do they fit into this whole equation? It's like they have an advantage that they've never had before. Later stage startups have an extremely difficult time right now because they have to manage an additional factor, which is their cost level. How much money are they paying out every single month right now, just while they're in a difficult situation? Challenge, right? Early stage startups, they don't have that problem. They are nimble. They are free. It is not that hard for them to be able to break through. And everything for them is about outreach. So they have to attack their larger competitors like they never have done before. They have to attack the market like they never have done before. And I promise you, investors like us will be knocking down their door to invest money in them because we know if you can be strong when a recession is coming on, then you're going to be off the charts when we hit good times again.
So basically what you're saying is that, when the storm is coming in, you don't need to talk down. You just need to go more aggressively and just, fight it, because this is the time to be a fighter and to be aggressive even more than before.
Yeah, you either build a better boat, or you make sure that your boat is adequate to make through, or you tie a couple of boats together and you make it through. What you can't do as an early stage startup is hide in the port. If we see you hiding in the port, then we know that you're going to hit a crisis in the future and fear is going to stop you breaking through, and you're not going to be able to scale the way that we need you to scale to be a venture backable company. Fight through that storm.
Excellent. I love that. I love that notion and the vibe. Lastly, and you know what, this is, we've been working together for quite some time. BDO and Expert Dojo has been great friends to each other. We love hosting you guys over here in Israel. We love showing you around the market. We love to get you introduced and engage with Israeli startups. That's our goal. That's our vision. And your vision is to get your hands on the best targets and the best solutions and products that you can make them big in America and globally, of course. But let's try and help the young entrepreneur that is right now looking at the screen and trying to understand if what he has and what he has developed, if that is something that has kind of a need or an urge from the VC markets, from the funders' perspectives. So can you elaborate a little bit about what you think are the hottest trends today in general? What investors today seek more into, and what maybe is kind of pushed to the side, obviously with respect to the whole situation in the markets. But when you're replying to that and when you're touching that subject, I also want you to kind of mention what you, under the dojo management, where do you stand today when it comes to your professional but personal points of interest that you want to bite your teeth in?
Okay, wonderful. Okay, let me respond back to that and just layer in one extra point about BDO. Because I'm not just saying this on the interview. I love Israel. I love Israeli companies. I have a tremendous respect for the early stage startup system, whether it's folks coming from Technion or the 8200 or just amazing entrepreneurs coming through. Israel have a gift, which is being able to discover, find, and develop the greatest startups on the planet. That's not going to go anytime soon. And they need to know that. And one of the things that all of us foreigners love about Israeli startup companies is that I tell everybody else in the world to be a beast. You guys already do it anyway. So just be you as you're breaking through and you'll be fine. And the companies that we love, and I'll also, by the way, layer in there about BDO because you guys have been awesome. And startups need to really make sure that if you were close with your partners like BDO before, you have to be 10 times closer right now. You're the ones who brought us into Israel. You're the one who made my head spin with 10, 15 meetings every single day, making sure that every single one of your startups was met. Like the fact that we will invest in probably 50 startups over the next 4 to 5 years is directly because of BDO bringing us into this market. So startups need to understand that. They need to appreciate that. And just as important, they need to stay close to you as you start to go forward, and you need to build your relationships with other outside investors as well. Right. What do we love? I can tell you what we've invested in. We've invested in a cybersecurity company, which is great news for the local folks there. We love anything that goes into deep machine learning that solves a problem that can replace a bunch of folks who had to do it before, which obviously great news for Israeli companies. Interestingly, we weren't looking at video conferencing so much previously. Video conferencing. We weren't looking so much at virtual reality. But now virtual reality and augmented reality are suddenly becoming very popular because of the new normal that we find ourselves in. We've just invested in an online training company that we think is going to be phenomenal. We've invested in a FDA and a medical compliance company that actually helps folks get compliance, because we know that over 500,000 products look for compliance every single year globally. We've invested in another company which is in the elder space, where homework, where folks are providing services to elderly folks, and another one in the digital phone space. And I think we're going to find that anything to do with streaming, anything to do with cybersecurity, protecting ourselves, especially with 5G coming through, it's going to be a crazy focus on how do we protect this online world we're in. Anything to do with virtual online training is going to be very popular as well. Retail is obviously going to struggle. I don't need to tell people there. However, retail's not going to go away. It's not that like shops are going to disappear between now and next week. So it'll be about startups.
Everything online.
But also, how do you bridge that gap between the experience that we all crave, like the fact that everybody has struggled with being at home with no experiences, so those experiences are still important to us socially, and how do you bridge that with the online world as well? So all of these are going to become very, very important, as well as anything that helps us digitally do the job better and make it simpler.
All right, so I'm trying to sum that last part. What you're saying basically, if you have something that is virtual, that is online, that is not physical, this is something that's going to have a major, major increase in the demand and the interest that is going to gain from investors. And at the same time, and not less important, in tough times, you want to stick to your advisors and the people that are supporting your operation, because those are crucial times and they probably have more experience than you gapping over those difficulties and very high pressure times. BDO has had tremendous experience from times like the 2008 crisis, and we can help overcome and bridge over those kind of tough situations. And I think you're absolutely right. And with the right partnership, also from the VC part, when you're attaching yourself to an investor, you want to get connected with an investor that truly believes in what you have to offer. You don't want to be connecting to just a virtual wallet that's going to give you money and say, you know what, yeah, let's talk in 6 months and show me what you got. You want somebody who's going to be there and follow with you step by step on a daily basis if needed, to make sure that you don't make any mistakes that you're going to have to pay for at a later point, and maybe fix something that's going to be more expensive than, learning on the day, on the go, when you're about to make that mistake. And I think that's a very, very strong key, especially in such crucial times, that everything that you do has so much more influence on what your operation is going to be foreseen. So with respect to that, and with kind of summarizing that, if you were to sit in a room right now, just like we'd love to do when you're here, and say you have 50 to 100 Israeli entrepreneurs sitting in front of you, and you want to tell them what you are looking for, give me 3 points, not from a sector, but more from the provision of the company, from the size of the company, the maturity of the company. What do you want to meet in the next, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month?
So number one, remember, and this is to all startups there, that VCs have got responsibilities to provide returns in tough times as well as in good times, right? It's very important. Sometimes there's a needy versus I have money relationship between startups and investors.
Mm-hmm.
And what startups need to understand is, for investors, yeah, there's a cleaning of the water. Yes, we can see the companies that are more likely to be successful over the next couple of years, but we still have to secure those companies, invest in those companies, and then get a return from those companies. So as a startup, if you have a great company, if you know that you're going to grow your company and it's going to get stronger, if you've listened to all of the things I said at the beginning, which is you fight 5 times harder, you push 3 times further, you make sure that you're more visible, don't be needy. So my number one point is, make sure you're the startup who walks into the room and the investors realize you're going to break through. You're not the startup saying, oh, please, sir, miss, could I have some money? I really need it because we need to break through. No, screw that. I'm strong and I'm tough and I'm going to break through. And we're going to be an incredible startup, and your fund is going to look back on us. And as we're ringing that bell on the NASDAQ, you're going to say, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for being my startup. And that's the first thing. It's a feeling and it's something inside. Number 2, focus on growth. Everything is about growth. Now, obviously, cash flow is important and you cannot run out of money, so don't be an idiot, but focus on growth. And growth does not need to be expensive. The beautiful thing about tough times is that people move away from the basic, anybody can be an entrepreneur playbook of, I'm just going to spend $1 million on Facebook ads, and they start moving towards really innovative ways of building your companies. It's not just that VCs want to see this. You want to do this. This is how great companies are built, by being clever and smart and creative and coming up with all of these ways to make partners and other folks work with you to help build your startup as well. And number 3, just know what the specific milestones are that you need to keep on scaling. Your scaling plans should not change during this recession. You should still know where you go from pre-seed to seed to Series A to Series B. You should know how much revenue you require, how many users you require, how many prospects you require, how many channels that you need to go through to get those prospects. So every single moment of every single day is milestone. So milestone, grow like a beast, and don't be a pussy.
I like that. I like that. I always like that in you. That pretty much sums what I think we want to see in the next couple of weeks. So again, Brian, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I hope that your future is going to be, in physical and not virtually. But again, virtual is the future. So I want to wish you all the best. Nothing but health to everybody, your family as well, your friends, colleagues, everybody who's listening to us. The market is not dead. The market is just an opportunity that is just lying underneath there, and you just need to be a beast, just like Brian said, and go get it.
That's it. Go get it.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian. Thanks, buddy.
You and BDO are great friends to us at the dojo and great friends to the whole community. Thanks for being there.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.